Welcome to our Princess Alaska webinar. I'm Gretchen Winters, Director of Marketing for Bursch Travel. And really, we appreciate you taking time out of your evening to come spend it with us to learn more about Alaska and what Princess offers. They pretty much own the market, I think, on Alaska. They've been going there for a long time, and I know Joe will get into it. So tonight's actually in Minnesota. If you're in Minnesota, you're listening on a good night because it's like a hot summer night. So Alaska will sound pretty inviting. But now is really the time to start planning for your Alaska cruise tour for 2023. So again, we're happy to have you. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat box, or I think you do have the option to unmute yourself. I think we might want to just wait till the end with questions. And while Joe answers any questions, then I can jump back on and let you know how you can reach out to your Bursch Travel, Pegasus Travel, travel advisor to check availability and pricing and so forth. So Joe, I'm going to turn it over to you and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Gretchen. And thank you for having me. My name is Joe from Princess Cruises, and Gretchen and I have done these presentations virtually and in person as well, many times over the years, and primarily it's because we know there's so much that goes into your decision when planning your trip for Alaska or to Alaska. And by all means, I think you'll find it beneficial. So we'll go through a number of things, and total it'll take us about a half an hour. So we appreciate your time, like Gretchen said, on this fine summer evening. Every Princess story really begins what we call our shared purpose as employees and as a company, and the direction that we follow. And it goes like this: to share our world. Tonight, that's Alaska, even though we're a worldwide cruise line. Share our hearts, protect the earth, which really means reducing the environmental footprint that we leave behind. And I'm going to share with you something that speaks to that. And then also create lasting memories. That's really our end goal, is for you to come home and to share your experiences with your friends and neighbors, and hopefully they'll go as well. So when we're pretty confident, Gretchen and I, our princesses, all of us are, that you're going to enjoy the scenery, the ship itself, all the excitement that goes along with it. But until you've come home with those memories and share them, or that's when we know we've done our job. Protecting the earth. I visited somebody the other day in the business, Gretchen. They said, Joe, you need to talk about this more, because I only promote people that protect the earth, or companies or vendors that do. So I'm going to share something with you that we're doing as a group. Princess Cruises is owned by Carnival Corporation, that owns 8 different cruise lines. And as kind of a subcategory of that, there's three cruise lines that together are part of, and I'm going to read this to you so I get it verbatim, part of a groundbreaking partnership to explore the feasibility of the world's first cruise-led green corridor. And a green corridor is a maritime route used by companies whose ships work towards zero greenhouse gas emissions until they reach that goal. And that area, that corridor, is Alaska south to British Columbia and the state of Washington. So it's a pretty exciting initiative, and it's something that we're really proud of. Health and safety has been top of mind for everybody for a long time. Hopefully in 2023, it will be a distant memory. In the meantime, anytime you like, you can simply go to the Princess website, princess.com, and click on right here at the top of the screen, View Guidelines by Destination. And then you can see exactly what the guidelines are. If you looked at it right now, you would see 2022's guidelines for Alaska as well as every place else. So I think we're probably in our last weekend coming up for Alaska 2022. So those guidelines will be removed here in just another week or two. And then hopefully we won't see any for 23, but we don't know that yet. But we're a long ways off from that. All right, so we're going to talk about Alaska vacationing. We'll walk through a sample cruise tour and go through some frequently asked questions, and then also, of course, entertain your questions of personal nature as well. we know that the number one reason most of us say we want to go to Alaska is to see glaciers. And with that in mind, keep in mind, if you're cruising from Vancouver to Anchorage, we port in the port city of Whittier for Anchorage. We always offer 2 opportunities to view glaciers. The picture on the left-hand side here is after the ship has entered Glacier Bay National Park, that we have a permit for on every single one of these sailings. The ship enters the park toward just about midday. We reach the crown jewel of it all, and that's Margerie Glacier deep into Glacier Bay National Park. Margerie Glacier is a mile wide at the water, several hundred feet high. You'll just spend your entire day out viewing the glacier and experiencing it. So, and then if you're going north on that itinerary, there's a second glacier viewing opportunity called College Fjord, a long, narrow fjord that has up to 4 or 5, potentially 4 or 5 glaciers within your view at any one time. So the key message there is 2 glacier viewing opportunities from the ship. When we enter Glacier Bay National Park, early in the morning, park rangers board the ship, national park rangers, and spend the entire day entertaining our customers. So it's really quite an experience. If you're coming southbound, you likewise have 2 opportunities, but rather than College Fjord, we visit an area called Hubbard Glacier. So it's an equal match and equal experience to College Fjord, and both are awesome. But again, the key message is 2. Anytime you do a cruise tour, it always includes at least 1 night around Denali Park and at our lodge called the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge, and oftentimes 2 nights. So that's how you get to see the interior and Denali Park in particular, which comes out on all the surveys as the number 2 reason we want to see Alaska. So it's really key to be able to see it. Our Denali Lodge is just a mile from the entrance to the park, and it's really the staging point to go into the park itself. With limited exceptions, there is a tour included that goes into the park itself, a narrated tour, and a great opportunity to see that. And then wildlife. We can just about guarantee you'll see most of the big 5. Caribou, we can just about guarantee you'll see caribou throughout your trip. Dawes sheep, you'll see when you're in Denali Park for sure. Well, just about for sure. I can't quite guarantee that, but just about. Up on the mountainsides, moose and bear seem to be kind of the wild cards, but hopefully you'll have an opportunity. Oftentimes you can actually see bear from a distance from the ship while we're in Glacier Bay National Park as well. So, and then wolves is the last of the big 5, the Denali or Alaskan big 5. And we just want to make sure we keep our distance from the wolves. All right. Then as kind of a bonus, it's not part of the big 5, but whales is probably number 1 on all of our minds. And there's going to be several opportunities to see whales, including right from the ship. The ship's onboard naturalist that cruises with us the entire time will announce any sightings that are coming up. And then also there's a couple of different ports where you can go on a shore excursion on a much smaller shore excursion experience. That's a whale watching experience. So this is clearly a close-up view from one of the small boats, probably from the shore excursion in Juneau. And the shore excursion vendors in the past, make sure you read the fine print, but in the past, they've guaranteed that you'll see whales. So very nice. All right. Anytime you see the logo North to Alaska, I want you to recognize that as part of Princess's onboard enrichment program. And it ranges from the park rangers boarding the ship in Glacier Bay National Park and spending the day with our customers. If there's enough of the real young kids, 5 and under, there's a park ranger that boards the ship and spends the entire day entertaining the kids as well. So keep that in mind. This young couple in the lower right-hand corner are experiencing and holding and petting some of the actual sled dog puppies that a real life dog musher has brought on the ship when the ship was in port in Skagway. So these are things that are all part of our onboard enrichment program. Libby Riddles, the first female Iditarod champion, boards the ship in Juneau and conducts a very, very compelling presentation on her history as becoming the first female Iditarod champion. And she tells quite a story. So all of these are part of this program called North to Alaska. And again, it's part of our enrichment program. There'll be presentations throughout the cruise in the theater where you can experience up close somebody presenting on a subject that they just love. There might be a presentation just on glaciers, might be one on wildlife, might be one on just personal exploits in Alaska. All right, a couple of things about Princess in general. We've been in business since '65. We're headquartered in Los Angeles, and we've been cruising Alaska since 1969. So this coming season will be our 54th year in Alaska. So it gives us great insight into everything Alaska has to offer. We were the backdrop for the TV show The Love Boat that ran from 1974 to 1984. Gavin McLeod for years was our ambassador until his passing recently, earlier this year, I believe. And then Jill Whelan, who was Vicky Stubing on the show, is now our ambassador, or one of them. So it's a real exciting company. We offer a great deal. The real highlights when it comes to Alaska is, again, that we offer this very enriching experience. The rail service, when you board a rail car in Alaska that has the Princess logo on the outside of it, it's not just a logo, it's actually a rail car that we own and operate, and the staff are Princess employees. And then the lodges as well. The picture on the left is one of our lodges in Alaska. It's our Mount McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge, but we have 5 lodges around the state. They're all owned and operated by Princess. And we're built for that. Go ahead, Gretchen.
Sorry, Joe, it's Gretchen. That's one thing that I just have to point out, that I just love how seamless that is. That, you know, it's all Princess employees. They all have the same training, service level. So it's not like you're kind of going off the ship and dealing with somebody on a train that isn't quite understanding the service level, and then ending up in a lodge that's run and managed by a different company. So I think that's one of the key factors of doing a Princess cruise tour. Sorry, I just had to.
Thanks for that, Gretchen, because we really feel that way. And once you've experienced it, or if it's your first time, you may not even fully comprehend what's happening, but the employees are all trained as Princess employees. So you're exactly right. And they're mostly, and our goal is to have most of them be local Alaskans as well. All right, so a couple of sample itineraries that we want to highlight, and then we'll kind of walk through a sample cruise tour as well. But we have round trip sailings from Seattle, boarding the ship in Seattle, cruising north, as far north as Glacier Bay or Hubbard Glacier, or one of the other glacier viewing opportunities, and then back to Seattle for 7 days. Then we have a brand new itinerary this year from Vancouver on one of our ships that's cruising either 10 days or 11 days, depending on which sailing you choose, back to Vancouver. So it's something new and exciting for Princess. It'll take some time to kind of catch on, but it's going to provide an opportunity to visit on ports of call like Sitka. It's going to go as far north as Hubbard Glacier for glacier viewing opportunity, Icy Strait Point, Juneau, Ketchikan, and on the 11-day sailing, calling on Victoria as well. So if you've cruised Alaska before or gone on a cruise tour and you're considering a second trip, this might really be something just for you. So give that some thought. Real new, exciting cruise tour. And then the slide won't move forward. Let's see. There we go. And so we're going to visit either Glacier Bay National Park, Dawes Glacier at the end of Endicott Arm, or Hubbard Glacier. On the round trip voyages, we typically have one glacier viewing opportunity. All right, then if we're going to cruise all the way north from Vancouver, all the way north to Anchorage and Whittier, this is a 7-day cruise. This is how you would do the full cruise tour. So we have a ship every Saturday, likewise every Wednesday. And then from here, we're going to have glacier viewing opportunities, of course. But then we're going to cruise and do our land tour north of Anchorage, known as the interior of Alaska. So we cruise from Vancouver, 7 days north to Whittier, disembark the ship, and from there do our land tour. The cruise itinerary, for the most part, is the same week after week, a couple of small variations. The land tour, however, can range anywhere from 3 to 7 or 8 nights, and just quite a few different options. So when you sit down with or visit with one of Gretchen's staff, they'll help you walk through which one might be the best one for you. But we're going to walk through one sample trip anyway. So our first time we're gonna begin we're gonna go northbound in our sample right now. Keep in mind that you could start in Alaska and come south and end in Vancouver. But for purposes of tonight, we're going to go northbound. We're going to arrive in Vancouver, maybe the day before or the morning of. The ship sets sail right from downtown Vancouver. The pier is called Canada Place. It's just an absolutely gorgeous city. Board the ship, get to know everything about the ship. The ship will set sail late in the afternoon, cruise through the inside passage all day long. So it's 350 miles from Vancouver north to Ketchikan, the first port of call typically. And it's cruising through what's referred to as the inside passage. Sometimes it's referred to as the inland passage as well. That's really one and the same. It means the same thing. Scenery on either side of the ship pretty much all day long. Our onboard naturalists will be pointing out interesting sites and offering all sorts of informative information, and hopefully pointing out those whales as well. Then we're going to arrive Ketchikan, and we dock right smack downtown Ketchikan. You disembark the ship and you can be on Main Street in about 100 feet. So it's really a convenient port, 12 or 13 or 14,000 people. It's known as the salmon capital of the world, and also well known for its totem poles too. So when you disembark the ship, you might just walk around on your own. The Alaskan ports are all very friendly that way and easy. Or you may do a shore excursion. And in Ketchikan, Gretchen, maybe you want to offer an idea, but I really like to go see the totem poles.
Sorry, Joe, mute it. You know, we actually, when you said salmon capital, fishing capital, we did salmon fishing from there. And it was early August and it was phenomenal. I mean, the fish literally were jumping in the boat. They were actually jumping out of the water, but we had such a great time, and it was such a fun experience. And then when you get back at the dock, they will take your fish and they'll take it to be either flash frozen or smoked or whatever, and send it directly to your home based on when you're going to arrive home. So we found that to be a really exciting excursion in Ketchikan.
Good. I'm going to touch on that a little bit more later too. Then Juneau's our next port of call in most cases. If you're going north, it's your first opportunity to see a glacier. If you're coming south, it's your last. But going north, Mendenhall Glacier is about 10 miles out of town. You can see it either by taking a shore excursion that just is a motor coach ride out to the visitor center, or you can take a shore excursion by landing on top of the glacier on a helicopter and experiencing it that way. I have some friends that are getting ready to go, and they've already said this is a shore excursion they're going to do for sure right away. This is Libby Riddles. She boards our ships each time in Juneau. You'll see her presentation advertised, and she'll conduct a presentation, and sometimes she'll have some of her sled dogs with her. And then this is also really the best place to do a whale watching experience as well. Juneau is, of course, the state capital. It's landlocked, very little auto theft in Juneau. Very easy to walk around. It's a town of about 25,000 people, and we're within about 2 blocks of Main Street in Juneau. And then here's just a picture of some people on a fishing shore excursion. Gretchen was mentioning that earlier. If your shore excursion has that North to Alaska logo or mention in its description, and also if it says cook my catch, it is one of those shore excursions where you can actually not only choose to have it shipped home for you, you can actually have it prepared for you that evening on the ship. And this is a stock photo right here. This is not my own personal photo, but the last time I was in Alaska, we did catch fish, and this is my own photo of the salmon platter that was brought to our table that night.
Did you share, Joe, or did you share with everybody, or did you keep it all to yourself?
This picture doesn't really do it justice. That platter was actually about 4 feet wide. And
You ate it all.
the dining staff had to bring a second table out to sit next to ours, to put it down. So it's really a great experience. And then Skagway or Icy Strait Point, a couple of different variations. If you visit Skagway, it's a frontier looking town with the famous White Pass Scenic Railway shore excursion. If you go on an itinerary with Icy Strait Point, it's considerably more remote, much more like we probably have Alaska conjured up in our mind. And a couple of great shore excursions that one is bear watching. There's a whale watching excursion here as well. And I keep referring to the shore excursions. They're all listed on our website too. And you can filter to Alaska and the individual port to see what's available. What you see now are what was available this year. And then soon we'll be listing 2023's choices.
Joe, I'm gonna jump back in. Sorry. And the shore excursions fill up very quickly. So it is something, if you're thinking about, even for next year, you want to take a peek and kind of get an idea. And then once the 23 shore excursions are announced, have an idea of what you want and get those booked. And our advisors can help with that, because a lot of them, the popular ones, will really fill up very quickly. A lot of the fishing excursions, and then that train in Skagway does. So.
And I haven't had an opportunity to visit Icy Strait Point yet, but a friend of mine was there just a few weeks ago. And there's a tram up this mountainside, and from the photo you see on the right, and there's actually a zip line to come back down. And I guess it's a full 5-minute zip line trip to get back. So pretty exciting, pretty exhilarating.
I think it's the fastest one. I think you get up to, like, I'm going to say 50 miles an hour or something. I've heard about that it's the fastest, highest one there is. So not for me.
Not for me either. Anyway, here's just a personal photo of the ship leaving one of the ports of call and one of the views you'll have. It's just an awesome experience in Alaska. So Glacier Bay National Park on every one of these sailings, along with either College Fjord or Hubbard Glacier, all offering great opportunities to really be up close to the glaciers. Here's a picture of Margerie Glacier close up. Both these photos are the same glacier, just from a different perspective. As I mentioned earlier, Margerie Glacier is about a mile wide, several hundred feet high. And she's been calving a great deal on the far left-hand side the last few years. Then we arrived Whittier. If you were cruising this itinerary without going on the land tour, you transferred to the airport and fly home. If you're doing a land tour, a cruise tour, you will, in most cases, board Princess Rail Service. And it takes you directly, goes right through Anchorage and takes you directly to either our Denali Princess Lodge or our Mount McKinley Princess Lodge. One of the two is where you start your land vacation. But in all cases, you do visit the Denali Lodge. If you're at our Princess Mount McKinley Lodge, it's the only lodge. You can see the front deck on the far right-hand side of the lodge. It's the only public facility, public lodge in Alaska that potentially has a view of Mount McKinley. And she's quite striking. It's the mountain is 41 miles away, and when the weather clears, this is the site you'll see. And you can see though it has what's referred to as its own weather pattern. If you look on the peak on the far left-hand side, you can see it obviously has its own weather pattern here. And then if anybody has seen the TV reality show Treehouse Masters, that group of people built a treehouse on the Mount McKinley Lodge grounds. And from that deck of the treehouse, you can also potentially have a view of Denali. I may have said Mount McKinley, but the name has changed back to Denali. So I have to put a quarter in the cup now because I said that. Anyway, or you may go southeast of Anchorage, southwest to our Kenai Lodge to begin your trip, or you might go considerably far east to our Copper River Lodge. And if you go to our Copper River Lodge, in some cases, you actually get off the ship and board a catamaran that takes you 50 miles an hour to Valdez, where you begin your land trip. So all told, we end up either in Fairbanks or back in Anchorage to fly home. So that's kind of a sample of what a cruise tour itinerary would look like, but there are about 20 different variations. They may range from as short as 3 nights on land to as high as 7 or 8 or 9. So there's a lot to choose from, and that's really one of the reasons that we like to kind of get things started with a presentation like this. And then from here, when you sit down with one of Gretchen's staff, they're going to be able to help sort you through that. So some frequently asked questions that we know come up almost always. When's the best time to go, and which direction should I go? And the sailings start in early to mid-May, and they end in, well, right about now. This coming weekend is our last sailings leaving Alaska and coming south. If you go in the spring, everything will be cooler and crisper, and there'll be snow in the lower elevations. Happens to be my favorite time to go. If you wait till mid-June into July and early August, you'll experience the much longer days, and the growing season is almost 24 hours a day. And it's about 10 degrees warmer on average. And then again in the fall, you might see some fall colors. So they're all great times to go. It really more is a personal decision on when you might go. The same trip in early May versus July could be as much as several $100s different per person, just simply because more people want to go in the heart of the summer. Excuse me. And then as far as which direction to go, when you visit with one of Gretchen's staff, they'll talk to you about that. They'll share some comments on what some of their past customers have told them. And again, they're both great directions as well. Northbound tends to be slightly lower priced, just simply because southbound sells out for us first each year. All right, packing. We pack to dress in layers. And if you're local here in Minnesota, I like to say pack it like you would if you were going up north in April or October. And that simply means, and just mainly means, that you pack to dress in layers. Most of us don't really bring winter clothing as much as we bring clothing to layer in. All right. Then on board the ship in the evenings, the spirit of the dress code for 5 evenings is called smart casual, which really just simply means that we all look nice. And then there are 2 nights that are considered formal nights. Men for formal dress, typically you'd want to be in a coat and tie. Alaska tends to be a little bit more casual than other places in the world. And Gretchen, maybe you can add a comment or two about women's dress.
Sorry, unmuting. Yeah, it is. I feel that it's more casual, and even on those days that, those evenings where it's a little bit more formal, I mean, if you had a skirt and a sweater, you would be fine. Even a nice pair of slacks and a sweater. You certainly don't have to have some kind of fancy sequin dress at all. I mean, you'd be a little bit out of place. I think that the atmosphere is a lot more casual, as you would expect with, that type of cruise and where you are, and it's focused more on the outdoors and not quite as formal.
Great. After you've made your purchase, you'll talk to Gretchen staff about whether you want insurance and what type of cabin you want and your airline ticket. And the additional spending after that would include shore excursions, both from the ports of call and anything additional from the land trips that are not included. Specialty dining at some of the restaurants on board the ships, and dining on the trains as well. And then Wi-Fi gratuities and beverages are additional as well, unless you purchase a plan that we sell and most people purchase that includes all of that. But again, Gretchen will go through all of that with you. Passports are required, so kind of keep that in mind. I like to suggest that you take a look at your passport right now, make sure it's good at least for 6 months past the last date you plan to travel. And we like to say that, and studies tell us how much reward we get from the anticipation of our vacation. And while it seems like a long ways off for next summer's Alaska, we're in the busiest booking period of the whole season right now. So great. Here's just kind of a slide on some of the fare types that we have. It's an awful lot of narrative, but there's really 3 different types. One is what we call Princess Standard, which is all of your dining and accommodations and your medallion class experience. If you purchase Princess Plus, it includes a beverage package with drinks up to $12, Wi-Fi for 1 device, and crew appreciation, formerly known as gratuities. And then our top fare plan also includes all of that, along with 2 specialty dining experiences and a photo package as well, and Wi-Fi up to 4 devices. So awful lot. If anybody has a history or heritage with the military, make sure you let Bursch know. They'll ask you for a copy of your DD 214 form. And from that, if you qualify, we'll add a $100 shipboard credit to your account. Every ship is a medallion class experience ship. Again, we'll talk to you about that, but the reality of it is, after you make your booking, you download this medallion class app on your smart device, and you essentially check in long before you ever cruise. And then when you arrive the pier, you'll have received your medallion in the mail before you arrive. It replaces what used to be a key card, and you arrive the pier, you're already checked in. All you do is walk through security, show your passport, and whatever other paperwork that's required at the time, and you go right to your stateroom. So it's really a neat new experience, very detailed, and really adds to your vacation a tremendous amount. You walk up to your stateroom, the door unlocks, you just turn the latch and walk in. You can order remotely a drink to be delivered to you from your smart device, and many other things as well. All right. And we also sell Cunard Line as well. So just one quick mention, if anybody's looking for a luxury Alaska vacation as opposed to a princess's premium experience, Queen Elizabeth is the Cunard ship that cruises the Alaskan waters in the summer as well. All right, Gretchen, do we have any chat questions that have come up?
Nothing in the chat box right now, but I just want to review a couple of things, and if anybody has any questions, they can put them in the chat box and we'll get them answered. Or, like I said, I think you can unmute yourself or ask to be unmuted if it's a detailed question. But again, thank you, Joe, so much for this, presentation. It hits a lot of the highlights, but Alaska is a remarkable, amazing place to visit, and I know on a lot of people's bucket list. So this is a great start to kind of build your anticipation and put together what it is that you're interested in doing. So now that you've heard this, you'll probably formulate some ideas and thoughts of when you want to travel, what kind of package you want to put together, if it's a cruise tour or cruise, and then you'll want to reach out to your Bursch or your Pegasus travel advisor. So a little bit of info on that. Right now, travel is rampant. Everybody wants to travel. We've all been cooped up for 2 years, and now the world is reopening, which is so exciting and so fantastic. But we are extremely, extremely busy. So in order for you to get the premium service that you deserve and the advice and help of our advisors, we're really encouraging you to reach out and set up an appointment. A lot of our advisors have a link that you can go in and look at their calendar, or you can contact them directly if you have their email, or you can go to our Bursch Travel website, burschtravel.com, click on the Contact Us, complete that form, and just say that you're interested in setting up an appointment with an advisor to discuss Alaska 2023. And then we'll get back to you. We may give you some preliminary information, some things to look at, and then you'll take that time to sit down and visit with your advisor and go through all of the questions and the details. So that's really what we're recommending. This is for any of our offices, the 16 that we have kind of scattered throughout the upper Midwest. It's your best way, and it's going to get you the best service. So plan for that. Like I said, if you have an advisor you work with and you want to reach out to them directly, feel free to email them and set up an appointment. Otherwise, the Contact Us form on the website is your best option. So with that, I'll see no questions, Joe. But again, thank you so much. I think I've been to Alaska 3 times, 4 times, and every time is remarkable and amazing. There's so much to do and see. It's really, truly a spectacular place to visit. The wildlife, the glaciers, and Princess, as you can tell, has been doing this since 1969. So they've got things figured out. So that's a very good option for visiting Alaska, is with a Princess cruise or cruise tour. So I don't see any questions, Joe. Any last
Well, thank you
words?
very much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for joining us this evening, and we'd love to entertain you. If not 2023, 2024.
And please pass on that if you have anybody interested, this has been recorded and will be on our website under services under travel seminars. So you can probably find it there tomorrow or the next day and re-listen to it, because Joe is captivating. And if you have any friends or family that are interested, have them go ahead and listen to that. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and hopefully we'll see you in Alaska. Good night.